If you've been feeling on edge about changes to benefits, payment schedules, or new programs that could affect your household, you're not alone. A lot of folks are hearing bits and pieces about a new account for children that comes with a $1,000 deposit, and the chatter can feel confusing. When money is tight and every check matters, confusion is the last thing you need. I'm going to walk you through what this program is, what it is not, who might qualify, and what steps you need to take if it applies to your family. My goal is simple: to help you understand the rules, avoid missing deadlines, and protect your rights without scaring you or wasting your time. Here's the plain truth up front. There is a new children's investment account program, often called a Trump account, in the news and by people discussing it. The headline that gets attention is this: for eligible children, the federal government offers a $1,000 deposit. That $1,000 is real money, not a coupon or loan, and it does not need to be paid back. But it is not automatic. If you do nothing, nothing happens. You have to elect the account. That's where many families slip through the cracks. I don't want that to be you. Let's go step by step in simple language. Think of this account like a seed planted for a child's future. The idea is long-term, not month-to-month. The money is meant to be invested in a broad U.S. stock market index fund, the kind many retirement plans use. The law limits the choices strongly on purpose. No picking individual stocks, no moving it into cash or gold, no complicated strategies. It is a straightforward, low-cost index fund, with a fee cap that's very low by industry standards. The goal is to let that seed grow quietly over years.
The investment side has strict rules. You won't be managing the investments, and you won't be able to tap the money for short-term needs. Withdrawals are generally not allowed until the child turns 18, and even at that age, the rules look more like a retirement account than a regular savings account. That means this is not a replacement for food, rent, or medical bills. It cannot cover groceries next week or utilities next month. That's a fair criticism of the program for families who need immediate help. But for families who can claim it, it's still a valuable benefit to set aside something for a child's adulthood. Now, let's talk eligibility, because this is where many people get tripped up. The $1,000 government deposit is limited to children who are U.S. citizens and who were born between January 1, 2025 and December 31, 2028. That window matters. If a child was born before 2025, even by one day, they don't qualify for the government's $1,000. I know that's frustrating for parents and grandparents with slightly older kids. Please don't shoot the messenger. I want you to have the facts so you don't waste time chasing something that's not available for an older child under the federal piece of this program. But don't turn off the video yet if you have older children. There is a separate private contribution that may help some families with kids who are too old for the $1,000. I'll explain that clearly in a moment, because it might still be worth your time to open the account even without the federal deposit, depending on your zip code and the child's age. If your child fits the federal window, here is the part you need to pay attention to. Nothing is automatic. The government is not going to open the account for you in the background. You have to elect it. As it stands, that means submitting a new IRS form when you file your taxes. You might hear Form 4547 mentioned. You may also hear that an online election option is expected to launch in 2026. Dates and form numbers can shift as agencies finalize systems, so the safest thing to do is keep your eyes on official sources. When you prepare your taxes, tell your preparer directly that you want to elect the children's account if your child is eligible. If you prepare your own taxes, look for the specific election form or IRS guidance. If you do not normally file taxes because your income is low, talk to a local VITA site or a trusted tax preparer and ask about a non-filer pathway or the online portal timeline. Don't assume the system will find you. Raise your hand. What happens after you make the election is more administrative than dramatic. You should receive instructions on how to finalize the account setup. The initial government deposit doesn't land in your checking account, and it won't show up as a paper check in your mailbox. It goes into the child's account after the account is officially set up. Expect a delay between the time you elect and the time you see the money reflected in the account. Timelines mentioned publicly suggest that account instructions roll out after the systems are live, and the earliest operational dates described have been around mid-2026. Government rollouts can move slower or faster depending on funding and technology, so be patient but organized. Keep copies of your election paperwork. Save any letters you receive. Put a reminder on your calendar to follow up if you don't receive setup instructions by the time the program says you should. Let's walk through a real-life example. Say your daughter was born in March 2026, and she's a U.S. citizen. You elect the account when you file your 2026 tax return in 2027, or you elect through the official online portal if it's available. After the account is set up, the $1,000 deposit is invested in the default index fund. You don't pick the fund, it's the standard option the program uses. You cannot withdraw it to cover diapers, rent, or groceries. It's meant to sit there for years. If the stock market as a whole grows over time, as it has historically over long periods, though with ups and downs, the account could be worth several $1,000s by the time she turns 18 or older. No one can guarantee how markets will perform, but long-term investing is the logic behind this program. It is a bet on time, not timing. Families often ask, can we put in our own money? The short answer is yes, up to a limit. The program allows family contributions up to $5,000 per year per child. Employers can contribute up to $2,500 per year, and employer contributions count toward that same yearly cap. Sometimes nonprofits or government-related contributions can be structured so they don't count toward the cap, but the details depend on how those contributions are set up. Here is the part I want you to consider carefully. Just because you can add your own money doesn't mean it's the best move for your family. The account has very limited investment choices, strict withdrawal rules, and withdrawals in adulthood are generally taxed as ordinary income rather than capital gains. For many households, especially those on fixed incomes, there might be better places for your personal savings, like paying down high-interest debt, building an emergency fund you can actually access, or using accounts with more flexible rules for your situation. The main value here for most families is the free $1,000 if you qualify. You don't want to leave that on the table. After that, any additional contribution is a separate decision where it's smart to weigh your priorities and maybe ask a trusted advisor or counselor who understands benefits and taxes. Now, about families with older kids. A large private donation was announced that aims to put $250 into accounts for many children under age 10 who live in zip codes where the median household income is below $150,000. Based on the description that's circulated, this could cover roughly 25 million children across a wide range of communities. The important part is that this includes many kids who are too old to get the federal $1,000 deposit. For example, if your grandson is 8 years old and you live in a qualifying zip code, you may still be able to get a $250 private contribution into his account. But the same rule applies. No account, no deposit. You still have to open the account for that child. And you should verify whether your specific zip code qualifies using the official website once it's published, or by asking your tax preparer to check the guidance. Never rely on a random website or a social media post asking for your personal information. No one should be charging you a fee to unlock a private contribution like this. If you're ever asked to pay with gift cards, cryptocurrency, or wire transfers, that's a scam. Use official.gov websites and hotlines. If you're unsure, ask a librarian at your local library or a VITA tax assistance volunteer to help you find the official source. Let's talk about how this interacts with benefits, because that's where many people get nervous. The $1,000 government deposit and the potential $250 private contribution are placed in the child's account and restricted until adulthood. It's not income paid to you. However, different programs have different rules about assets and income. SNAP, Medicaid, SSI, and housing assistance each have their own definitions and exceptions. Some programs treat certain children's assets differently, especially when the funds are restricted by law. Others may ask for documentation to verify who owns the asset and whether it's accessible to the household. The safest path is to contact your caseworker or the agency that administers your benefit and ask in writing how a federally restricted children's investment account is counted. Keep a copy of the answer. Bring the documentation that shows you can't withdraw the money before age 18 and that it's in the child's name. This protects you from misunderstandings later. Do not assume it will hurt your benefits, and do not assume it won't. Ask, document, and keep records. If you have an appeal or recertification coming up, it's better to be prepared than surprised.
Paperwork can feel overwhelming, so here are the practical steps boiled down into everyday actions. If your child or grandchild is a U.S. citizen born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, mark a note to elect the account when you file taxes, and keep an eye out for the official online portal. If the child is under age 10 but born before 2025, consider opening the account anyway and check the zip code criteria for the private contribution once that tool is available. Gather basic documents you will likely need: the child's social security number, birth certificate, and proof of citizenship if needed. Keep your mailing address current with the IRS and with any agency that mails you benefit letters. If you move and miss a letter with setup instructions, the process could stall. If you use a tax preparer, bring a written list of questions to your appointment. Ask specifically about the children's account election. Don't assume your preparer knows about the new form. This is new, and not everyone has it on their radar yet.
Let me share a few scenarios to make this concrete. A grandmother caring for her newborn granddaughter qualifies to elect the account as the child's legal guardian. She files her taxes with the new election form and keeps a copy of the submission. She gets a letter in the mail, follows the steps to set up the account, and later sees the $1,000 reflected online. She doesn't put in more of her own money because she's focusing on paying down a high-interest credit card first, which is the right call for her situation. In a second scenario, a single dad with a 6-year-old hears that older kids might qualify for $250 if the zip code fits the guideline. He opens the account once the portal is live and uses the official checker to confirm that his zip code's median income is under the threshold. A few months later, the private contribution appears in the account. He keeps a copy of the notice and brings it to his SNA recertification appointment, along with a printout showing the funds are restricted until the child is an adult. The caseworker notes it in his file and confirms it does not change his monthly benefit at this time. In a third scenario, a foster parent asks whether foster children are eligible. This is where the official rules on eligibility and legal guardianship matter. The parent checks the program's definition of eligible child and who can elect the account for a child in foster care. The safest step is to get guidance in writing from the agency that placed the child and from the program administrator. If the foster child meets the citizenship and birth date criteria, it may be possible to elect the account, but the legal guardian agency may need to be involved. Paperwork first, then proceed. Compounding is one of those terms that gets thrown around a lot. Here's how to think about it without the jargon. If $1,000 is invested and earns an average return over many years, it has a chance to grow. Some years the market goes up, some years it goes down. Over long periods, the stock market has historically grown more often than it has fallen, but nothing is guaranteed. The fee cap of the program is designed to keep costs very low, which protects more of the child's return from being eaten up by fees. If, for example, that $1,000 were to double a couple of times over 18 years, it might become a few $1,000s by the time the child is an adult. But it could also grow less or more, or go through periods where it drops in value. The important thing is to see this as a long journey, not a daily scoreboard. You're planting something you can't harvest right away.
You might be wondering about deadlines and timing. When a program is new, agencies sometimes take time to release final forms, launch portals, and push out clear guidance. You may hear different dates in the news or from friends. That's normal in a rollout. What you can control is being ready. If your child qualifies for the federal $1,000 deposit, plan to elect the account at your next tax filing and again the year after if you missed it, depending on the program's rules. If you don't file taxes, ask about a non-filer election once the official portal is available. If your child might qualify for the private $250 contribution because of age and zip code, be prepared to open the account and verify eligibility when the official tool goes live. Put reminders on your phone, on your fridge, or in a notebook where you track bills. A small reminder now can prevent a big headache later. You should also know that participation often falls when enrollment is not automatic. That is not your fault. It's a design issue. Programs that make families raise their hand often miss people who are eligible but busy, stressed, or just unaware. Some experts expect participation to land around half of potential families unless outreach improves. You can beat that statistic by taking simple steps. Ask questions early, elect the account when you file, and share this information with relatives who have young children. If you are a grandparent or aunt or uncle, you can gently remind the child's parent about the election. Sometimes it takes a nudge from someone who cares.
Scams tend to spike whenever a new benefit appears. Be careful. No one from the government will call you out of the blue to ask for your social security number or bank password to release a children's account deposit. Do not click links in texts or emails that promise instant approval. Stick to official.gov websites and phone numbers. If a website asks for payment to get the account, it's not real. If someone pressures you to act in minutes, hang up. Take your time, verify the source, and if you're unsure, ask a trusted person to help you check. Your information is valuable. Protect it. I also want to touch on taxes for a moment. When the child eventually takes money out as an adult, withdrawals may be treated as ordinary income, not capital gains. That's a technical detail that matters down the road. For you right now, the key tax move is electing the account correctly so the free $1,000 and any private contribution you qualify for gets into the child's account. Keep copies of the election form, any letters from the program administrator, and any account statements. If you change your address, update it with the IRS and with the account provider so letters don't go to the wrong place. Good records today make life easier later. There are still open questions about how the program might change in the future. Some people are asking for automatic enrollment so families don't miss out. Others want better outreach and more flexible rules for contributions. We'll have to watch how it develops. What I can say is that waiting for the perfect version is not a good strategy if your child already qualifies. Take the step you can take when the door opens. You can always adjust later if the rules improve.
Let me circle back to the private contribution for older kids, because this is where many families could benefit without realizing it. If your child is under age 10 and you live in a zip code where the median household income is below $150,000, there may be a $250 private deposit available once the account is opened. That threshold covers most zip codes in the country, which means this is not just for a small group. You will likely be able to check your zip code using an official tool when the program lists it. It's smart to wait for the official checker rather than relying on a third-party site. Once you confirm your zip code qualifies, complete the account setup as directed. The private money should be deposited into the account after your setup is complete, not before. If months go by and nothing shows up, contact the program's official support and ask for a status update. Write down the date, the name of the person you spoke to, and what they said. If you talk to a caseworker about benefits, bring those notes with you. Clarity matters. Some families ask, can the parent's immigration status affect the child's eligibility? The federal $1,000 is tied to the child's U.S. citizenship and birth date. If the child is a U.S. citizen born in the specified window, that is the core eligibility factor. The parent's status may affect how you interact with the IRS or how you file taxes, but the child's citizenship and age determine the deposit eligibility. If this is your situation, ask a trusted tax preparer to help you file the election form correctly. Do not skip the election because you assume you can't file. There are legal ways for mixed-status families to file taxes and claim benefits tied to a U.S. citizen child. Having guidance protects you and helps you do things the right way. Parents who don't file taxes because their income is low often feel invisible to federal programs. Please hear me on this. Low filing income does not mean you're locked out. Ask about the non-filer pathway or the online portal. Use VITA or a community tax program if you need free help. These programs are designed for families exactly like yours. It's okay to say, I don't know where to start. That's what they're there for. Let's wrap this into a simple plan you can follow. First, if you have a U.S. citizen child born from January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2028, plan to elect the account. Tell your tax preparer, watch for the IRS form, and look for the online portal if it goes live. Second, if you have a child under 10 who was born before 2025, consider opening the account and checking whether your zip code qualifies for the $250 private contribution. Third, safeguard your information. Only use official.gov sites. Don't pay fees to get access to these deposits. Fourth, protect your benefits by asking your caseworker, in writing if possible, how this account is counted for SNAP, Medicaid, SSI, or housing. Keep a copy of their answer. Fifth, keep your documents and letters together. Put them in a folder where you also keep your Social Security, Medicare, and tax papers. When in doubt, ask questions early. Missing a step is how people lose out. Taking a small action now is how you stay ahead. If all of this feels like a lot, take a breath. You don't have to do everything in one day. You just need to understand the key points and put a few reminders in place. The $1,000 for eligible newborns through 2028 is real, but you must elect the account. The private $250 for many kids under 10 and qualifying zip codes can help older children too, but again, you must open the account. The
The money is invested for the long term, with limited choices and no short-term withdrawals. The main value for most families is claiming the free deposits if you qualify. After that, think carefully before adding your own money, especially if you have debts, need an emergency fund, or rely on benefits with asset rules. And finally, keep yourself safe from scams by using official sources and refusing to pay for help unlocking a benefit that should be free.
I'll leave you with this encouragement. You have gotten through a lot already. Learning about a new program can feel intimidating, but you don't need to be tech-savvy to protect your family's rights. You need clear information, a calm plan, and a willingness to ask for help when you need it. If this program applies to your family, you can do this. Check eligibility. Talk to your tax preparer. Watch for the official portal. Keep your records. Share what you learn with a neighbor or a relative who has young kids. Your one careful action today could make a quiet difference in a child's future 10 or 15 years from now. Before we end, a quick disclaimer. This video is for general information and education. It's not legal, tax, or financial advice for your specific situation. Rules, form numbers, and timelines can change as agencies implement the program. Always confirm details on official government websites or with a qualified professional you trust. If a program could affect your current benefits, ask your caseworker how it is counted and keep that answer in your file. That way you stay informed, protected, and a step ahead of any changes coming down the line. If you found this helpful, take a moment today to write down your next step, even if it's just a reminder to ask your preparer about the election form. Small steps, taken calmly and on time, are how you keep from being blindsided by government changes and how you make sure your family does not miss what you're entitled to. You deserve clarity, you deserve stability, and you deserve to keep every benefit and opportunity you've earned.